Blue Beetle issue 3, Josh Trujillo and Adrian Gutierrez on the book.
Yeah, so I got caught up on this one. I read half of the first issue. Had to get caught up on 1 and 2 before I read 3. And essentially, what's going on is that in issue 1, we find out that Jaime's friend Brenda is working for Victoria Cord, but she doesn't want him to know that, so everything's kind of done in secret. Not the Reach, but the new ones that came, they're not the Sovereign. But anyways, the refugees are set up in Palmyra City. There's a lot of tension in between them. And they're using Natita and Dynasties kind of as a security system to try to do this. In the second issue, there's a new character that comes up that's named the Blood Scarab. And he essentially looks like the Blue Beetle, but he's all entirely in red. And turns out he uses magic, which is a new thing even for Jaime's Scarab. It's like this is older than me, and it feels fear. So this is something that goes back from beyond even when Dan Garrett had found the Scarab and its time in Egypt. So that issue ended with Ted Cord going down. Victoria's not happy. Blood Scarab escapes because Jaime can't fight it. It's too powerful. So Jaime reaches out to his ex.
Remind me, Matt.
Sorry.
Victoria Cord.
Yes.
Was the relation to Ted?
That's Ted's sister.
Sister, okay.
Right. Ted's sister. So she was introduced in the Graduation Day mini,
okay.
Where she has taken over Cord Industries, kind of like the CFO. So she deals with the day-to-day, whereas Ted's more of the, research and development side of things.
Okay.
Right. So she's not exactly a villain, but she's definitely an antagonist, because in this one, right, so Jaime realizes that this is, the Blood Scarab had left like runes etched into the floor when it attacked Ted. So he reaches out to the one person that he knows that knows magic, and that's Tracy 13. She's working at the Oblivion Bar. So they go there to talk. He meets Blue Demon. And she's like, yeah, give me some time. We can figure this out. They end up in Egypt in the tomb where Dan Garrett found the original Scarab. And that this goes even beyond the Reach and Jaime and all the stuff that's been going on. Also in the last issue, the Blood Scarab had attacked Shepard Ord, who's one of the refugee leaders. And the only reason he survived is because their anatomy is different. So it's very clear that who's ever in the Blood Scarab isn't an alien, is probably human. But there's also a lot of intensity with the Blood Scarab, and it seems personal. And the fact that so we also find out that the Blood Scarab was the first scarab. It was forged in Egypt, and that with dark magic and kind of the Reach technology, so much that it consumed the pharaoh that had it created, and that's where it ties into the Dan Garrett. Is I guess the pharaoh character ended up coming back and giving Dan Garrett trouble, right? So as Jaime's trying to figure all of this out, the Blood Scarab attacks Shepard Ord again, but luckily Starfire's there with Dynasties and Natita, and Dynasties ends up taking a big hit, and so it looks like she's down for the count, and Jaime and Tracy 13 show back up in the nick of time for Jaime to basically set up a small defense. And Tracy 13 ends up using a combination of magic with the Reach technology, which is able to help. It was able to help them, but the issue ends with Jaime and Tracy 13 having an argument that Jaime needs to do better, and that yes, he can't kill, but if Blood Scarab is willing to do that, you got to be willing to go to the next level to save the people that you care about. The art here is probably at its best, even back to graduation day. We get a lot of like Egyptian temples, but also some sci-fi action because Jaime ends up when the Blood Scarab attacks. He goes into the legato form, which is, you know, where he goes into the full armor with the big sword arms, and it looks really cool. And the fight with Blood Scarab, like in order to show Jaime fighting, there's these big blue like swoops that take up like the whole page. So he's kind of like omnipresent when he's in this form. But yeah, I'm always happy to see Starfire show up, and the art here is fantastic with her. Her hair's up on all over, and again, a lot like Jaime and legato form, takes up whole pages. So, but yeah, I'm just double checking because I read this earlier in the week, so it's been a minute. But also, Madame Xanadu. That's who they're going to meet in the Oblivion Bar. I left that part out. Is Tracy 13 takes Jaime to Madame Xanadu, who reads the tarot, and that's where we get the history of the Blood Scarab, and that's what leads them to go search in Egypt. So, really enjoyable. I'm glad I got caught back up. It's doing that kind of. He's no longer a teen. He's still right. He's still trying to find himself in the superhero world, and so it still gives that kind of Spider-Man-y vibe that I always associate with Blue Beetle. And Trujillo's doing a real good job at the characterization. So I'll give this an 8 out of 10.